Joining us now, the Honorable Jeff Sili. He's a member of the Caroline County, Virginia Board of Supervisors. He's an immediate past chairman. He's also a senior systems engineer, and he had 6 years active duty in the U.S. Navy. And Jeff has been in Caroline County. Jeff has been an unbelievable proponent for natural gas, and he's got actually specific results to share with us on how natural gas has revitalized the economy of Caroline County. Hey, Jeff, good to have you with us, man.
Good morning. Nice to be with you, John.
Hey, Jeff, describe how Caroline County is utilizing natural gas to cut costs and save money. How have you guys been able to accomplish this, and like nobody else can seem to figure it out?
Well, there's a couple of things, John. I think everybody first needs to be aware that natural gas is an economic development tool. When you have it and you can market that as a commodity that you can offer to any business coming, I think everybody has to look at this in perspective of energy is energy. You know, if electricity has a cost, propane has a cost, natural gas has a cost. Where's your biggest savings? When we looked at, the pipeline came through Caroline in the early 90s, and shortly thereafter, we have several generation plants here in Caroline for Dominion for peak usage. So in the summer when power usage is real high, they kick those generators in to create energy for everybody. And in the winter, when it's really cold and it's high energy usage, they kick those in. So that's not something that's used all the time. But those generation plants are here solely because of natural gas. You know, they're quiet, they're clean. Most people don't even realize they exist in Caroline County. So that was our first. We started out with one. They've added others since they built that first station. Next, we actually had a Hoover. In the last couple of years has actually used natural gas instead of the way they were kiln drying lumber. Hoover is a wood treatment products plant here in Caroline, and they were looking for a way to cut costs. So through Columbia Gas, we were actually, through the state, able to move the gas line to them to give them that capability. At about the time that was taking place, we were under a referendum for a high school renovation. And the entire Board of Supervisors was like, you know, we need to get natural gas into those buildings to get rid of the propane tank farms, and it cuts your delivery schedule. It gives you a constant supply. So that was our move, and we've now been using this as a tool readily for economic development. There are a lot of other uses for natural gas, as we've learned. Actually, people could produce, an organization could produce their own power using natural gas if they had a large facility.
Okay, I mean, look, you got the pipeline there in the 90s. You've revitalized things, and you've got the results there, right? I mean, you've got the facts and you got the results, what happened to your county as a result of the pipeline, as a result of natural gas.
Correct. I mean, we're going to save between $15,000 and $20,000 a year in heating the high school, and about the same because we're actually moving natural gas and we're replacing the boilers in the middle school to also see savings there. So what everybody thought was going to be a long-term process of how long is it going to take us to save the money to renovate, you know, for the conversion, it's actually been a very short time frame. And
so you're getting the saving.
Ultimately, that does save taxpayers. When you talk about $20,000 a year per building, that's $40,000. When you look at Caroline County, 1 cent of real estate actually generates $250,000 in revenue. You start saving $40,000 or $50,000 a year, it's significant.
Look, there's no question it is significant, and it's a lot of money, and you've got now $40,000 to put into something else, really, that is needed other than paying for energy. It's been a very long haul to get all the elected officials in Virginia on the same page as we are, right? Because they're pulled by different bases, and people don't like fracking, they don't like this, they don't like that. How have elected officials in your area viewed natural gas?
I will say across the spectrum here, and I mean all the elected officials on the board, and we have the whole spectrum, Republican, Independent, and Democrats, we were all very enthusiastic about bringing natural gas into the school system and using it as an economic development tool. And I will say the folks in Caroline as a whole have had no issues. I mean, the pipeline comes through Caroline. I don't think most people even know where it is. You know, it's a safe medium for bringing fuel through a county to a county. You know, I don't know a better way to do and to move that kind of a commodity. So from that perspective, I haven't seen any resistance from folks area over the pipeline, and moving to natural didn't make anybody blink.
Well, look, it's a tough coalition, though, to put together. You guys have done a good job down there in Caroline County, Jeff. That's why I wanted to get you on. We're with the Honorable Jeff Sili. He is a member of the Caroline County Board of Supervisors. He's the immediate past chairman. And when you talk to legislators, Jeff, off the air or in private, to a person, they all agree natural gas makes sense. Pipelines are the only efficient way to transport it. And as you said, Jeff, you know, right now, you are likely standing on a pipeline wherever you're talking to me from. There's probably a pipeline under you. You have no idea. Likely I'm standing on one now. No one even knows where these are. There's no issue with them. But, you know, when it becomes a partisan issue, then different factions get involved and people are pulled in different directions. How have you guys in Caroline County been able to cut through the hype of that and kind of not get involved in the screaming that goes back and forth and actually get this done? What's your blueprint for this?
Well, John, you know, I look at it this way. We are actually, as a board, working on bringing the pipeline around over to Fort A.P. Hill, which is in Caroline County. And we're working with Columbia Gas, and I think as a board and individuals, you have to look at the benefits that you're getting. It's a lower-cost commodity. It's very clean energy. It's being distributed nationwide. This is one of the few places I've lived in my life where natural gas wasn't part of the heating element for the house. You know, most of Virginia is electric or propane or even in smaller numbers now, fuel oil. But, you know, all those have to be, propane and fuel oil have to be delivered. So when you look at the cost involved in that and how many trucks it takes off the road when you when you use a pipeline and you can actually send it to a house via a pipe, it really does save in a lot of areas. And I think you start to see those savings, particularly in the school system. You know, there are 25 or 30 500-gallon propane tanks outside those buildings that when we switch to natural gas, those will actually go away. So if you're really serious about economic development, looking at organizations that want to come and what you can offer them, it's another great commodity that along with it goes right along with, you know, internet connectivity. And partisanship goes away when you talk about economic development and actually bringing an economic base to a community.
Well, look,
and it should go away when that happens.
Well, we would hope so. It doesn't always happen that way, but I mean, I love the example you just made. It's kind of like internet broadband, right? I mean, not bringing internet broadband to an area of the country or a community is insane, right? And I remember when this first started, there were actually people that were advocating, well, certain areas shouldn't have it, don't need it, too expensive. You know, we don't want everybody on the internet. I mean, I go back a while. I remember that. It's stupid. Kind of get the same thing here. Now, Jeff Sili, we talked about the cost savings of natural gas. You mentioned middle school, high school. Right now, you're going to get savings of about $30,000 to $50,000 right now, done. What about the impact natural gas has had on the economic development, on jobs in Caroline County? Do you have any empirical evidence, and can you share that?
See, the next step for us is to actually bring the pipeline from Hoover Wood Products up to 301 and over to Fort A.P. Hill to open it up to a wider usage. And actually with the pipeline at the high school and middle school, Columbia has actually really done us a favor. They've run the line up to Route 207, a major thoroughfare in Caroline, to give future businesses access. That's the other side of a pipeline, is that I think sometimes folks forget that you have to have access points so that folks can use it. When in the 90s there was a port that was actually put in Caroline, so that in the high pressure line, so that we could actually get to it. And it takes time for folks to realize that natural gas, as we move forward, you'll see a lot more organizations and companies looking at how to use that and how they can actually benefit from it. And I think we're moving into that in Virginia, in the Northeast, and in Ohio, where I'm from originally. It has been there for forever. It was built in the infrastructure. So there's a lot more, folks are a lot more used to being able to use it. And I think we're just getting there in Virginia. And again, as an economic development tool, making folks aware that it's available is a very big point.
Well, that's how you get jobs in. You can't get anybody to come with a plant or a manufacturing facility or anything else if they don't know how they're going to power it, if they don't know how they're going to get energy. And if the pipeline is there and they can tap into it, that's a huge selling point to bring jobs and opportunity into your county and others that see the benefit of it. We're with the Honorable Jeff Sili. He's on the Caroline County Board of Supervisors, and he's the immediate past chairman of that, and we want to thank him for being with us. Final issue, Jeff. There's a lot of people that say, well, here's a problem with natural gas pipelines. They're not safe. They can leak. This can happen. That can happen. Well, when you're transporting natural gas, there's only three ways to go: pipeline, train, or truck. That's it, right?
Right.
There's no cyberspace. Train, truck, pipe. Those are your options. Can't transport it any other way. All of the information that we have shows that pipelines historically are the best and safest way to transport natural gas. True or false?
Absolutely true. And the pipeline's been here since the early 90s, and I'll go back to what I said to you earlier. Most folks don't even realize it's there. So you're talking about something that's been there, over 20 years. Never had an issue. I don't think anybody even blinks an eye, and they probably drive by it every day. And pipelines, it's just like we can go back to, we all have water systems and sewer systems. It's all pipe. They're underground for the most part. They're very, very safe, and very few issues. Weather doesn't disturb them, those kinds of things. So I think you have to look at it from that perspective, is how do you move something that you need in the safest manner possible.
Well, look, just so that everybody knows, let me give you one factoid. One natural gas pipeline is the same as 75 rail cars or 750 trucks per day in the amount of natural gas transferred. So think about this. Those that are concerned about the ozone emissions, climate change, all this, you can get it through a pipeline, free and easy, or you can transport the same amount in one day on 75 train cars or 750 trucks. Think about all that emission. I mean, this is like the biggest no-brainer since sliced bread. And, of course, all pipelines, as everybody knows, we always have this disclaimer at the end, Jeff, all pipelines have to follow the strict regulations put in place by the United States Department of Transportation and the Federal Energy Regulatory Committee, FERC, better known as FERC. So FERC considers all the environmental factors. So it's not like some company just comes in and puts in a pipeline. I mean, you got to go through all this paperwork, all these approvals. FERC is involved. And following approval, the Office of Pipeline Safety ensures the safety during the design, construction, operation, and maintenance. Now, you don't have that same care with trains or trucks. This is the biggest no-brainer, Jeff, in history. I want to thank you for coming on and sharing. Here's Jeff Sili, member of the Caroline County Supervisor. He's a Caroline County Supervisor, immediate chairman. And what Caroline County did is they embraced natural gas. They got the first pipeline there. They're saving money. They're bringing jobs. They revitalized their economy, all because of natural gas and the pipeline. If only politicians in Virginia can get it through their heads, this is the way to go. We would have so much economic revitalization in so many areas of the Commonwealth. Jeff, thanks for being with us, man. Thanks for your leadership on this issue.
And thanks for the talk this morning, John.
All right. The Honorable Jeff Sili, Caroline County Board of Supervisors.